What's up, YouTube? What's up, Facebook? I appreciate you guys so much. I have a great show for you today. We have a lot of topics to cover. First, I'm going to play this clip of Rachel Maddow, a throwback of when she told you something that's not true now. So just warning, the information that she says is not true because I don't want to get censored or flagged for her, misinformation, but I'm sure they'll blame me or something. I also want to play a clip of Chris Hayes from MSNBC, who is now comparing, this COVID to another illness, which if I were to do or I were not to do, I still get blamed for it. I don't know if you guys know, I post New York Times, like mainstream stuff, and I get flagged. They're like, fact check, you can't compare it to the flu. And I'm like, I didn't compare it to the flu. Like they literally just make things up just to censor me. But then you have literal MSNBC hosts literally saying that. I have clips from CNN. I have a Bloomberg report. It says CDC tells even vaccinated people to avoid cruises. You know, I love cruises. So, shame on the cruise industry for getting strong-armed by the CDC. You guys are going to keep suffering until you just do your own thing. Daily Mail article, Biden signs a $137 million deal with a German pharmaceutical company for COVID test strip factory that will take 3 years to build and will start producing 83.3 million tests a month in late 2024 at the earliest, according to Daily Mail. That sounds good. Novak Djokovic, one of the best tennis players, not only of the era, but in history, is skipping the Australian Open because they denied his exemption for the vaccine. So he's, putting his tennis legacy aside for a human legacy, standing up for freedom, which is great. We're going to talk about the Ghislaine Maxwell verdict. She was found guilty on 506 accounts. A lot of people think that's great. A lot of people think it's not, that they're not doing enough. We'll talk about that. I also want to give a quick shout out to Robert Malone, who is somebody who, revolutionized mRNA technology and was part of the team who advanced the mRNA technology that we're using today. He got kicked off of Twitter and he'll be on Joe Rogan today. So shout out to Joe Rogan for hosting him after he got censored. That's pretty cool. And last but not least, this doesn't have much to do with any of this, but I guess a woman has made a Jeopardy streak. It's the longest winning woman in Jeopardy history. And that woman happens to be transgender. So that is who holds the woman's record for Jeopardy now. We'll talk about that at the end as well. Congratulations to her and, all women who can't apparently be as smart as her. Sucks to suck. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, that's the story of today. I just want to say this too. Yesterday's live stream, this is very important before I start. It got deleted off of YouTube and it got flagged for medical misinformation. I tried to reach out to Team YouTube on Twitter. They won't give me a reason of why it was medical misinformation. So what I can tell you is this, besides the fact that they're authoritarian scumbags that don't really care about the truth or accuracy or science or anything, is that there's other ways you can follow me. And this is very important. The first one is Telegram. No matter where I am, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, BitChute, maybe I'll stream somewhere else eventually. I post everything on Telegram. So my Telegram is DreamRareChat, t.me/DreamRareChat. That link will be in the comment section on YouTube or rather in the description. And it will be also in the description of the title on Facebook. I have a email list, stayintouchwithme.com. My BitChute and Rumble channel is bitchute.com/DreamRare, rumble.com/DreamRare. Those deleted videos will be there. And last but not least, the deleted video of my Carrie Mullis biography that I did that was totally factual and way more accurate and honest and even keeled than you'll see in the media. That got deleted at one point as well from social media. So if you want to watch that, go to rumble.com/DreamRare. And I do want to say this. I find it, before I play this clip of Rachel Maddow, I find it so disgraceful that these people will use the PCR test, right? They use it in millions upon billions of people, testing. They have no problem using the PCR test. They did not invent the PCR test. If it wasn't for Carrie Mullis, the Nobel Prize-winning inventor of the PCR test, there would be no PCR test. So these people, these scumbags, these authoritarian devils, these nasty, wicked idiots, literal idiots who are not smart enough, creative enough, intellectual enough to invent stuff like Carrie Mullis invented, not only do they have no problem using the test that he invented and then changing their narrative a year and a half into it and being like, well, I guess technically it can pick up remnants like weeks later, so we shouldn't use it for isolation, CDC report, ABC News, mainstream stuff. But they use his invention and then delete his videos. Here's a little, agreement that we can, if you don't want to listen to Kary Mullis talk, then don't use his invention, but don't go around, using his invention and then deleting him out of the public discussion. These people are so evil. It's like, yeah, you don't like him. You don't want to listen to him. He doesn't get to be a part of the scientific discussion on YouTube and Facebook. Then stop using his test. You scumbags. You are such losers, evil people. Stop already. Okay. All right. Anyway, let's listen to Rachel Maddow, liar, behind off. This is months ago. She was telling people, and by the way, I'm going to play this clip, and I just want to say, I haven't here. I don't tell people to get it. I don't tell people not to get it. I'm not your doctor. I'm not your medical advisor. I don't claim to be. I don't want liability either way. And to be honest, I don't know who you are, what you're dealing with, and I will not be there for you if you lose your job, and I will not be there for you if you suffer, a rare side effect or whatever. So I don't tell you what to do. But these people go on television, literally give out misinformation, tell people to get something, and what she says is not even true. So I might get censored for this video. I don't know. But this information right here, you will hear it. She said this. Did she get punished for this? Did she get censored or demonetized? Probably not. But here's what she was telling people, like she's some sort of medical advisor months ago. And this is the type of stuff we have to deal with. Listen.
It means that instead of the vaccine being able, instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person to person, spreading and spreading, sickening some of them, but not all of them. And the ones that it doesn't sicken don't know they have it. And then they give it to even more people because they didn't recognize they were, right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way. Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
It's not true.
A vaccinated person gets exposed to the virus. The virus does not infect them. The virus cannot then use that person to go anywhere else. It cannot use a vaccinated person as a host to go get more people.
It's not true.
That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this. If we just go fast enough.
All right, so that's her in the crunch time. Go fast enough, get it. If you get it, the virus can't spread with you. That's obviously a lie. That's medical misinformation. Shame on you, Rachel Maddow. Shame on you. And this is how they sold it to people. They're going to act like they sell it. And then once everyone, and they're like, I never said that. It's like, no, you definitely said that. I have the clip of it. I don't tell people what to do. If you lose your job, I'm not going to be there for you. If something happens to you based on your diet or exercise routine or medical routine, I'm not going to be there for you. I don't tell people what to do. I tell you what I'm doing. I tell you the research. I try to show you both sides and say, hear for yourself. You know their side. You hear it everywhere. Everywhere you click, it's like, do you want to read this? Do you want to read this? Yeah, I've seen it a million times. We know your side. We're trying to have an honest scientific discussion. As Aaron Rodgers recently says, it's not science if you can't question it. It's propaganda. Science is about experimentations, data, research. It's always changing, evolving. You have discussions. If you can't question it, it's propaganda. It's not science. And in general, this is the type of stuff that they've been doing. And the crazy part is now people like Chris Hayes, the very cool, trendy, just like you hipster guy from MSNBC. I mean, dude, I feel like I'm right at home with this guy. He really just seems like my best friend, yo. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, Chris Hayes is saying something that would get you censored on Facebook a year ago. They would say, fact check. The COVID is nothing like the flu. You can't compare it to it at all. And they would fact check me on posts that I didn't compare it because I know their rules. And I never said it was the flu. I'm like, I'm just saying other stuff. And they're like, well, listen to what he says. I did not say this, so I don't want to get blamed for this. I'm just reporting and analyzing this. Listen to Chris Hayes recently. This is within the last 24 hours.
The personal risk of being exposed to this went from something that we hadn't really dealt with specifically like this before in our lifetimes. We haven't quite had an illness this infectious and this possible to cause serious illness to something that does look more like the flu. And the flu, of course, can still be dangerous. It kills tens of thousands of Americans every year.
What?
But we don't orient our lives around the flu. So that's closer to the level of risk that, 200 million Americans or less than that are now dealing with. And then when you add in the sheer exhaustion many people feel, and I don't have to tell you this, I'm sure, because you're just feeling this yourself, many of you, with the lengths of this disruption in their lives, obviously the politics of the pandemic are just completely different than they were earlier in the pandemic.
Oh, the politics are different in the pandemic now. So It's crazy. These people waited. If you don't know, I don't know if you guys are following, there's a record high amount of cases in America from COVID. When Biden ran, listen to his words, read his tweets. He was conning America into being like, orange man bad, Biden man good. I will save you from COVID. Trump has no plan. Let's end this pandemic. And now that they're not ending it, they got, a majority of the country vaccinated, booster shots galore. Countries like Singapore and Israel are not facing zero COVID. You have states like Vermont. If you check over the last 4 months, they have more deaths and more cases than they did last year. They're not ending the pandemic. So now they wait until the record number of cases comes. And now they start saying what we said a year ago. It's like, they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. Let's just go back to normal now. Why are they doing that? I have a few reasons why. I'll say at the end. But let's listen to CDC Rochelle Walensky explain partially why she has decided to roll back the quarantine period to 5. She gave a scientific reasoning, and then she also said part of it is behavioral science, and we realized that people just won't listen to us, so we decided to shorten it to make it easier to follow. Take a listen.
So from what you're saying, it sounds like this decision had just as much to do with business as it did with the science.
Well, so it really had a lot to do with what we thought people would be able to tolerate. We have seen relatively low rates of isolation for all of this pandemic. Some science has demonstrated less than a third of people are isolating when they need to. And so we really want to make sure that we had guidance in this moment where we were going to have a lot of disease that could be adhered to, that people were willing to adhere to, and that spoke specifically to when people were maximally infectious. So it really spoke to both behaviors as well as what people were able to do.
Well, so then I guess the question, if this is based on science that you are.
So she's like, we changed it, but like, part of it is like what we think people will put up with, which I get that. I get that from her perspective, but it's just kind of funny. It's like, well, let's wait till it just gets like record high cases and we'll just like start, saying things that people said a month ago. And it's very interesting to me. If you go on the CDC website, there's a part of it that says that they're thinking about or they're planning. Maybe I should just go find it real quick and read it so I don't get in trouble. I'll probably get in trouble anyway. CDC PCR December. They're talking about like phasing out the test. They were talking about it a while ago. Let me see real quick. All right, here it is. This is not me. This is the CDC website, the official government website. It said they said this, I guess, in July. It says lab alert changes to CDC RT-PCR for SARS-CoV-2 testing. This is right off the CDC website. It says, after December 31st, 2021, CDC will withdraw the request to the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, FDA, for emergency use authorization of the CDC 2019 novel coronavirus real-time PCR diagnosis tool. So they're talking about, I guess, not having emergency use authorization for whatever reason for the PCR test. And a few days before that date comes that they set out months ago, they have the CDC director go on television and say, well, maybe we shouldn't use PCR tests to determine isolation because a PCR test, according to Rochelle Walensky, can show remnants of the virus even if you're not sick. That's what she said. So what does that mean to the total number of cases? What does that mean to the death count? Because the death count includes anybody who has COVID-19, whether you got sick from 15 other things, whether it was a huge part of it, whether it was a little part of it, to be quite frank, whether it was virtually no part of it. If you tested positive within a given time frame, they're marking you down as a COVID-19 death. We've been saying this for 2 years. We're not saying people aren't dying. We're not saying people aren't getting sick. We're not trying to say that. We're not trying to tell people to be reckless and unhealthy. But what we are saying is just mathematics and basic science. If this many people catch this a year, and this many people die every year, and this many people have comorbidities every year, and this many people get tested this many times, and this test can give you a positive even when you're technically not sick, but you had it a couple weeks ago, the frame of how many deaths there's going to be is going to be bigger. This is basic third grade math. I said this in March when the pandemic first came. I predicted, and this is what really ticks me off. YouTube, the reason that they gave for censoring my video. Of course, they didn't tell me what part of the video because they don't know. They're full of shit. They're idiots. If any of these YouTube employees sat down and had a podcast with me, they'd look like buffoons. They just sit there in their ivory tower and delete other people's videos, but they couldn't touch what I'm doing. Anyway, they couldn't debate me. They just want to censor. But in general, in March, they said, you need, this is medical misinformation because you're not allowed to disagree with the World Health Organization. I'm not allowed to disagree with the World Health Organization. You mean the World Health Organization that falsely told everybody that it was a 3.4 death rate early in March? And I told people on my YouTube channel, somehow I didn't get censored for this. Please don't go back and look for it. But I told people that it probably wasn't true. And I didn't say for sure because I don't speak in definites like they do and lie to people. I say, here's why I believe the death rate is lower. And I used a 3rd grade math equation that anybody who passed basic addition and subtraction could have done. And I was right and they were wrong. So you have to ask yourself before I tell you how I did it, are they idiots? Are they dumber than me? Are they corrupt? Are they ignorant? Are they useless? There's got to be something, but just because they have a World Health Organization on their hat or their arm, it doesn't make them a genius. You could be an idiot and work for McDonald's. You could be an idiot and attend Harvard. Yeah, you have a degree, but that doesn't mean you're good at everything. That's why we have freedom of speech in this country. Why am I being superseded by the buffoons at World Health Organization who clearly couldn't figure out what I figured out in March? And the reason I knew the death rate was lower is because there weren't tests available. So what is a death rate? A death rate is an equation. You take the amount of cases that test positive, then you take the amount of people that died, and you do it an equation with that, and you figure out, well, if 100 people tested positive from COVID and 10 people died, that would be a 10% death rate. If one person died out of 100, that's a 1% death rate. So their equation, 3.4%, was based on people who tested positive. Who had a test in March? You couldn't get a test unless you were for the Utah Jazz, or maybe you were like, a high-level person. Average people like myself couldn't even have access to tests. So I predicted in March, I said, I don't believe the World Health Organization, because once they give tests to millions of people and they start factoring in what they were claiming were asymptomatic cases and people who weren't that sick that wouldn't have normally known if they didn't get tested, the more people who test, if there's not deaths that equate with it, that death rate's going to go down. And it did go down. That's how I knew that, because their equation was based off a very small amount of tests. And once tests were widely available, the death rate went down. This is not hard to predict. All of these things that I predicted mandates in 2019, no travel in 2020. Everything that's happening, I said a year and a half ago. I'm not trying to act like I'm a wizard. I could lie to you and just be like, I'm a prophet. Give me your money and I will predict your future. I'm the new Miss Cleo, give me $1 million and I'll tell you what your horoscope is. I could lie like a lot of people do on other platforms. And they're like, I got a special code from Donald Trump from a message board, folks. If you follow me, the pedophiles will get arrested tomorrow. And everyone's like, dude, give this guy, let's buy more gold. I could do that, but I don't want to do that. The reason I tell you why I knew, it's a math equation, a 3rd grade math equation. What's the death rate? The amount of people who tested positive versus the amount of people who died. So once more people get tested, that number was obviously going to go down. And all of this stuff, I try to be as transparent as possible. I don't just say, here's what I think. Here's why I think it. I'm not sure, but this is an educated, scientific approach to what's going on. That's how I'm more right than all these people, because they're just saying whatever they want. They don't care if you tell the truth. They want you to agree with their narrative. If you're Rachel Maddow, you could say whatever you want. If you're this person, you could say, let's listen to Liana Wen at CNN, the expert at CNN. She says that cloth masks are basically not good. I can't say that. I'm not going to say that. Obviously, Fauci said that early in the pandemic, and if you show his video, you'll get deleted off of social media. So don't you dare quote Fauci unless Fauci's saying what Fauci says now. Because if you quote Fauci saying what Fauci used to say, then that's a Facebook violation from the World Health Organization of the global regime that does. It's like, shut up, losers. What do you guys just sit at like Google? You're like, oh, I'm so smart. I delete Carrie Mullis. I'm so smart. I delete Robert Malone. I had this idiot from, let me play this clip, but I had this idiot from Canada, some doctor from Vancouver. He retweeted my tweet and he's like, oh, the right-wing conspiracy theorist, Robert Malone. And I'm like, bro, he claims he invented mRNA technology, but what's for certain is he was one of the innovators who helped, push that. And I'm sure there were other people involved as well, but he's an innovator in mRNA technology. How are you going to call him an anti-vaxxer, dummy, when he's the one who helped make this technology? He's the one who helped develop this technology. You couldn't do that. You couldn't make a PCR test. These people use our inventions, use our creations, not me, but you get it. And then they're like, oh, he's not anti-vax. He helped develop it. He just doesn't think what everyone else thinks about this specific product and this specific rollout, which is totally normal in science. But it's like, I'm so sick of these people. They don't care if you're scientific. But anyway, let's listen to Liana Wen at CNN. Once again, I couldn't say this. I might get in trouble for this video. I just don't care anymore. Suck it. You guys are so annoying. I'm so smart. I work at Google and I can just delete smarter people than me. And then I go to my diversity training and they tell me I'm so special. Cool. Cool story, losers. Stop deleting my videos. You can't touch me. People, I can't even reach out to people at Facebook. It's like, have a podcast with me. They're so jealous. Like, oh, Joe Rogan, you're mad because Joe Rogan has the #1 podcast and you losers couldn't even have a top 1,000 podcast, even if your own corporation sponsored you and gave you $1 million. Get over it.
Already had at the CDC. Why didn't you make this change sooner than this week?
Hold on.
Recently, when you said here on CNN that cloth masks were, quote, little more than facial decorations. So, in light of Omicron, what kind of mask should we all be wearing? And were you surprised by the pushback from your comments?
Well, I was surprised because this is not the first time that I or Professor Osterholm or really any of us public health experts have been saying that cloth masks are not appropriate for this pandemic. It's not appropriate for Omicron. It was not appropriate for Delta, Alpha, or any of the previous variants either, because we're dealing with something that's airborne. We're dealing with a virus that's extremely contagious. At the very beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know about masking. And then we didn't have...
All right, I'll play a little bit of the clip. At the beginning of the pandemic, we didn't know about masking. Well, maybe you're not a science expert because the technology of masks has been around at least for a century. The how airflow works, etc. The size of the virus was pretty easy to identify, I believe, early on. So if you didn't know about masks at the beginning of the pandemic, maybe you're not an expert. And if your science change, Fauci's been there. He's like 80 years old. It's like 30 years of masking, and all of a sudden it just changes. Okay. But anyway, she says, you know, it's not. And then she goes on to say that you should be double masking and wearing like better masks. I'll play the clip in a second. But the point I'm getting to is this. I'm not for mask mandates. I don't believe in mask mandates. I don't believe in vaccine mandates. I don't believe in any of these restrictions. I've felt this way since for over a year now, a year and a half. That's my perspective. And I have a scientific and political philosophy on why that I don't want to bore you with. But in general, if you're going to mandate a mask, which I don't think you should do, why would you mandate masks when you're admitting that most of them don't work? Most people wear one cloth mask. To be honest, when I go on an airplane, I would say like maybe 5% of the people are wearing the mask that she said. 0% are double masking. Like, so you're mandating something that you don't even like. Why not just go the full distance? Like, I'm not saying to do it, but if you believe that one mask doesn't work, like Liana Wen says, why not then mandate the good mask or the one that you think works? Like, what's the point? What's the point? It's just a facial decoration. Well, that's what 98% of the people are wearing. So what are you doing? You know, how big is the virus? How small is the mask? If it's airborne, you know, why Lysol's everywhere. Okay, clean. Yeah, it's good to clean. It's good to wash your hands. But at a certain point, we're not really following science. It's like freak out and put things on your face and just yell at people and don't, you know, it's like childhood obesity is going up. So, you know, take care of yourself, eat well. You know, these are root level ways. Whatever. But anyway, I'll play a little bit of the rest so you can hear. She says, you know, you should put on more, but she literally said, like, I can't say that. But CNN, Chris Matthews, that it's just a flu. Cloth masks don't work. Like, all of a sudden they just started saying this when the record high amount of cases happened. Like, did they morph into a right-wing conspiracy theorist overnight? Now let's listen.
Masks, enough high-quality masks for healthcare workers, and so we were trying to ration those. But then pretty quickly we recognized that COVID is airborne, and also that there are really high-quality masks that protect us from getting COVID. And so at this point, what people should do is wear at least a 3-ply medical-grade surgical mask. Ideally, you're double masking. So if you really want to do that cloth mask too, you can do the 3-ply surgical mask, and then you can put the cloth mask that's more well-fitting on top of that. Even better would be the N95, KN95, or KF94, the respiratory.
All right, you get it. I'm already bored. But she's like, you know, the cloth masks don't work, and you should put on these type. Then hand those out. When you like, do people not even get what's going on? This is one of the top health experts at CNN She's saying she doesn't think cloth masks work. Then why isn't Delta and American Airlines, why don't they hand you a mask? Like, none of this makes any sense, folks. Oh yeah, we don't believe these work, but here's the mask that we just said doesn't work. It's like, do they not have the technology to get N95 masks if they think they work? Like, it doesn't even make sense in their own world. I know why it doesn't make sense, because I'm not an idiot, and I've said it a million times. But like, let's say I was like a normie that just believed everything they said. At what point do you just like start asking a few questions? Like, for instance, like the restaurant's the funniest one. It's like, okay, so it's an airborne virus, and it's very important that I cover my face with a mask that Leanna Wen thinks doesn't work for 20 seconds. Okay, so there's air flowing around. I don't have to, this air doesn't just like stay in one position. It's like, woo, just chill it. Like, air disperses. You open a window, a fan, you get it. It doesn't just sit right in front of your face. Air moves. So you got to cover it. But then you sit down at the table and you take it off, and there's hundreds of people inside taking it off. It's like, if you haven't questioned that, you're dumb. I don't know what to say. Okay. And then let's go to like the riots. I thought that was very revealing. Like, when Huntington Beach was having protests, they were like, oh my God, people outdoors. This is so bad. You can't stand next to each other, play tennis with 3 people. This is ping pong is bad. And then like, George Floyd came along, and they're like, actually now, I'm not sure, because racism's bad. So I mean, the science behind, and like, you had literal op-eds. I remember there was one in New York Times where it was like this like liberal scientist, and like she was writing about this story. Like, I'm so conflicted. Like, this is like not verbatim, but it was like, I really care about the science of social distancing, but I'm confused. Why don't I care when it's George Floyd? I'm wrestling in my head. I'm like, you're a liar, Barbara. That's not really her name, but I'm just saying, it's like, you're wrestling in your head because you're a hypocrite fraud. You believe in certain things when it's people who have different politics than you. But when it comes to your own political party, all of a sudden your physics and your virology goes out the window, and you just stop caring. You're a fraud, Barbara. You got brainwashed, Barbara. I don't care how many degrees you have, Nancy. I'm just giving up names, but you get it. It's unbelievable. I hope YouTube is watching this. I tagged them on Twitter. They're like, oh, it's medical misinformation. Everything you guys do is medical misinformation. You allowed Fauci, Biden, all these people to tell people, oh, if you get this is going to happen. And then it doesn't happen. And now you got Chris Hayes like saying what Trump supporters were saying a year and a half ago. He's like, oh, maybe it's not as bad as we thought, and it's just the new technology. It's like, whatever, idiots. I just think it's so cowardly to delete my video. It's like, have a conversation with me. I'm actually a nice guy. Let's sit down and have a podcast. Let's talk about it. You know what I'm saying? Let's put your ideas versus my ideas. They couldn't exist in the same category. They would melt and crumble. Like, that's why Joe Rogan does so well. I don't believe everything Joe Rogan says. I don't agree with him on everything. He'll say some stuff that I'm like, I wouldn't say that. But one thing that Joe Rogan does is he'll have people on from both sides, a lot of medical people now that are getting censored, and he'll have a discussion, and it's open forum, and it's hours long, and there is no editing out of context. It's just raw and it's real. That's what people like. They're taking away likes on YouTube, so you can't see how unpopular they are. They have become authoritarians. I don't know. Do they think they're liberals? Look up what the word liberal means, you goofballs. I'm a liberal. I love everybody. Yeah, you love everybody except for people who disagree with you, which is like the smart, talented people in society. So what are you really doing? Here's what liberal means, according to Google. Willing to respect or accept behavior or opinions different from one's own. Open to new ideas. Here's another one. A supporter of policy, a supporter of a political and social philosophy that promotes individual rights, civil liberties, democracy, and free enterprise. So I would say libertarians are the real liberals now, and liberals are authoritarians. You guys don't respect other ideas. You can't even stand in the same Coliseum with me. So you delete, and then they're like, it's like, you can't do anything. Like, you're not liberals. You're not liberal anymore. You're authoritarian. Somebody brainwashed you into thinking like, you were Mao Zedong or something with a rainbow flag on your head. You're like, well, Mao Zedong killed tens of millions of people with famine, but I have a rainbow hat, so I could never be him. And it's like, maybe, hopefully not. I had one more thing to say. I almost forgot it. I think I did forget it. It sucks because it was important. It was probably one of the more important things I was going to say. Oh, well, hopefully I remember it. If not, whatever. All right. So this is a CDC tells even vaccinated people to avoid cruises. Shares tumble. This is Bloomberg, our good friend Michael Bloomberg, who, by the way, you should not criticize my boy Bloomberg, okay? Because there's a lot of anti-Semites out here being like, oh, Bloomberg owns a media company, and I don't like that talk, because when people are like, oh, Bloomberg owns his own media company, it's like, whoa, calm down there, Nazi. You're starting to sound really anti-Semitic. He's not. He's just doing his best, trying to disseminate information for humankind, for the G's, the B's, and the T's. So let's cool it with the far right talk about him owning his own media company. Okay. This media company is for everybody. Okay. It's for the Latinxos. You put an X in there just to show how not racist you are. Cause if you just put an O or an A, it just gets confusing. And trust me, I'm no left winger, but it even bothers me. So let's cool it down, okay? And let's get to the story, because I see people saying things that I wouldn't say. Anyway, CDC tells people, even vaccinated people, to avoid cruises. Shares tumble. Bloomberg. Shares of cruise operators fell after U.S. health officials said travelers should avoid them even if they're vaccinated. So now the CDC is coming through and telling people to avoid cruises. I just want to say this to Royal Caribbean, who I love, Carnival, who I don't, and Norwegian, who I've never been on, so I don't know. Ha, 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 ha. You idiots deserve this for letting the CDC strong arm you into being authoritarians. You follow all their guys. This just shows you the life of a sheep, okay? This should be like a little Nickelodeon show, like Jeremy the Sheep, the life of the sheep. You follow every rule, you follow every guidelines, you sabotage your own company, you kick out casino members like myself that go and blow my money for free cruises because, I'm an idiot. And in general, you kick us to the curb and say, oh, we don't want you here if you don't wear a mask. I'm not wearing a mask on a freaking cruise boat. Who wants to go on vacation and strap a freaking diaper over my face? Oh, this is so fun. I might as well send me to Australia in one of their, disciplinary, quarantine facilities, for Christ's sakes. But anyway, I don't mean to say the Lord's name in vain. I apologize, Jesus. Sorry, I've been a bad boy. 2022, hopefully I'll be better. The boy's filled with sins. People like me, but I'm not perfect. Anyway, they follow every rule, every guideline. They sabotage their own company. And a year after playing along with the CDC just tells people to avoid them. Ha, Royal Caribbean, suck it. You did everything they told you to do. And now they're like, yeah, that business, that multi-billion-dollar business with billions of dollars in its stock or whatever, millions of dollars. Yeah, just avoid them completely. Yeah, what happens if you avoid cruises completely and everybody listens to CDC? You idiots don't exist anymore. Or you get more handouts and I have to pay for it, and my kids have to pay for it from all the bullshit inflation communist printing bills that you guys did. But what did you think was going to happen? First, you did a vaccine mandate, and then you didn't do testing, and then you do testing, and now you do masking, and now there's still cases, and now they're just like, yeah, just don't go on cruises. You deserve it, Royal Caribbean. Stop listening. The CDC does not run the whole planet. I'm sorry. One agency in the government does not supersede everything else. If you keep listening to them, you're not going to exist anymore. And that would piss me off because I want to go on a cruise. It's my favorite thing to do. I enjoy it thoroughly, and you deserve this. Like, oh, shares are tumbling. Yeah. CDC's like, actually, they did everything we said, but just to avoid their company. And it's like, I hope this is like cartoon level, like Royal Caribbean CEO. It's like he's getting all mad and like steam's coming out his ears. You guys deserve it. Here's a funny article. Daily Mail. This is Daily Mail from recently. Biden signed a $137 million German pharmaceutical company for COVID test strip factory that will take 3 years to build and will start producing 83.3 million tests in a month in late 2024 at earliest. The Biden administration struck a deal with a German company to build a factory in Wisconsin. That's my Wisconsin accent. Not good, but not bad. To increase production of COVID-19 testing kits. Millport Sigma's new factory will pump out 83.3 million tests per month, but the facility won't be operational for another 3 years. what a good business move from Joe Biden. Let's tell everybody now, oh, it's not that bad. There's no federal solution. You know, we got to go back to normal. We got to open up again. We can't close the economy down. But let's dump a bunch of taxpayer money into testing that won't be available for 3 years. So if people think this pandemic's going away for a couple years, I don't know if that's a really great sign because they spent so much money. I watched an interview. If you want to, you don't have to because it's not like benefiting me at all. But anyway, you know, Lex Friedman has a podcast. Joe Rogan talks about him a lot. He sat down with the CEO of Pfizer, right? And, I remember what I was going to say earlier. I'll just say that. Bunch of liberal, and then I'll get to that. This is what I wanted to say earlier. A bunch of like left-wingers now are starting to accuse the CDC and the Biden administration as being corrupt because they're trying to open up. Like you got a lot of them I'm reading on social media. They're like, oh, the CDC and the Biden administration is so corrupt because they want to open up just to help the corporations. Oh, like I'm like, do you guys not even like Pfizer, Moderna fighting over the patent with the federal government because the government, according to Axios, thinks it owns part of the Moderna patent. Like none of that, you know, mass testing, trillions of dollars of printing, governors getting power that they've never had through emergency. Like none of that rang an alarm for corruption. Like, oh, maybe like these companies might have an incentive to keep this going. It's like you wait until the exact opposite happens and they run out of room. Like they said they were going to get rid of the virus and eliminate it, and it's record highs. You know, they're late on their testing. They're 3 years late doing this stuff. They're like running out of room. Every corporation's getting pissed off at them. The airlines are getting pissed off at them because the government is just screwing over literally every company except for Pfizer, Moderna, and testing companies. And now they just can't figure out what to do. So they're trying to open. And now you guys think there's corruption? Like everything's backwards in your head. It's like the whole last 2 years was the corruption. Every aspect of that was the corruption. Now they're trying to, you know, snake their way out of it because they're like, I'm sure they're pissing off Delta, America. I would assume that Royal Caribbean's pissed at them. The Biden administration's probably pissing off every company in the country. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe there's corruption there. Yeah, not the last 2 years, though. There's nothing to gain. What a joke. But anyway, the Lex Friedman podcast with the CEO of Pfizer, I thought Lex did a pretty good job. A lot of people, once again, they're like, oh, he went too soft. But listen, I don't expect the world out of him. I thought he asked some pretty good questions. And everybody in the comment section, and by the way, Lex Friedman, his podcast, he's got people on the left and the right. He's very even keeled. He doesn't even strike me as right leaning or anything. He's not really political. So he has like probably a more balanced audience than anyone. And people in the comment section were like, dude, going into this, like, you know, I'm vaccinated. I support Pfizer, but like, I feel like I don't trust the CEO and he seems corrupt. So it was a great interview because even people that are not right wing by any means and anti-vax by any means, they saw just in an open format, Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, sat down with Lex Friedman. He sat cross-armed and he just seemed like kind of a dick. And pretty much everybody saw who he really was. And in that interview, it's very, very interesting. It's worth a listen. But that's all I'll say. Just take a listen to it if you want to. And a lot of people seem to have like, you know, got woken up by that interview, which is good. Real quick before I get to the end, this is CBS News. Amy Schneider continues streak as the highest earning and longest winning woman in Jeopardy history. Congratulations. I'm pumped because, you know, I'm all about women's rights. And I've always wanted to prove that women are as smart as men, and, you know, that, you know, biologically born men are not smarter, that women can be just as smart in Jeopardy. And so I'll read this article. Jeopardy star Amy Schneider is continuing to break game records. On Tuesday, Schneider became the highest ranked female contestant for consecutive games won, a streak that continues with 21 straight victories to date. Last week, she also broke the record for highest female earner of all time. Congratulations. Since the start of the show, Schneider has surpassed Julia Collins screw Julia. No, I'm just kidding. But for consecutive wins, and Larissa Kelly for highest earnings by woman. Among all contestants, she now places fourth in both categories. She's 11 games away from passing James Holzhauer as the third-ranked contestant ever in consecutive wins. Schneider, who is transgender, is an engineering manager from Oakland, California. So congratulations to the transgender woman, Amy Schneider, for defeating all the other women and being the smartest woman, proving once and for all that women can be just as smart as men. I fully support this. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just going to stop talking because I don't really have much to add to that. But, you know, I've always known, you know, I support women. I think they're just as strong, just as smart. You know, they belong in the military front lines. I'm sure there's no physical limitations to that whatsoever. You know, voting patterns, they vote, you know, fantastically. If you ask me, I think only women should vote. You know, call me a feminist, call me radical, but, you know, I think only women should vote, because then the whole country would be blue, and that would be, you know, really progressive. So, you know, whatever. You know, maybe one day only women will be able to vote and we'll finally have equality. But until then, the patriarchy continues and people do things and produce things and, you know, cut down trees. And, you know, hopefully one day we'll get there. But anyway, someone said you're a radical. No, I mean, some would call it radical, but I just think women are smarter, and I just think they should be the only ones who vote so the whole country could be blue. And then we could have Michelle Obama as a president and really get some stuff done, okay? At least she was trying to make the kids less fat, though. Everyone was like so mad. I remember, I'm not defending Michelle Obama because honestly, I'm not a fan of the Obama administration, but I felt like right wingers were so mad when she tried to make like school lunches healthier. They're like, that damn Michelle Obama and her healthy lunches. And I'm like, dude, you shouldn't be feeding your kids like sugar cookies and like, you know, meat, like alien GMO meatball. Like that's not good. Like the crap that we ate when I was in school, it's like cosmic brownie. It's like, Michelle Obama's like, yo, what if we got some vegetables up in here? And people were like, gosh darn it, I told you these Obamas. I'm like, bro, out of everything Obama did, that's not like a top 1,000 terrible thing, unless she was just feeding you soy or something. I don't know. Maybe it was like a soy evasion of your health problem. But anyway, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like the kids could probably, like, American diets are so bad. I don't know what Michelle was doing, but like, I remember when I was young, it's like, ooh, Cookie Crisp. Like, why was I eating that? I don't know. Like, I don't know. And then you start getting mad at your mom and stuff. Like my mom, she always tried to give me like apples and like healthy juice and stuff. And I would get mad. I'm like, well, Mike's mom gives them Dunkaroos. You know, Mike's mom gives them really good stuff. You just give me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and a freaking apple. Like I used to hate that. But now I'm like, oh, my mom was trying to not kill me. Like my mom was actually trying to like get me on a healthy meal. I'm eating Cookie Crisp like 3 times, and then I fall asleep. Why is he asleep? He needs Adderall. Let's shove pills down his throat. It's like, here's a crazy idea. Why don't we just not fill our kids up with like 8 bowls of sugar before they go to school at 6 a.m.? Maybe they won't be so tired. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, though. Maybe I needed pills. But someone said, are you joking about only women voting? Of course. Of course. I don't think only women should vote. In fact, let's move on. All right, I'll read some comments and then I'm gonna take off. Hopefully this video doesn't get deleted on YouTube. I'm debating about deleting my video from yesterday on Facebook and just letting people watch it on Rumble and BitChute. And you know, I'm working. Hopefully, I figure out this deal because there's a I'm not gonna really say, but there's a company that, you know, they don't hate me, and hopefully I can start working with them. I won't stop videos on here and stuff, but I'd love to build with you know, a company that's pro free speech and start to take some traffic away from, you know, YouTube and Facebook or whatever. But someone said, bring back Totino's party pizza. Yo, those pizzas are probably terrible for you, but man, were they good. It's like when I was in college, it was like 99 cents microwave pizza. I was like, hell yeah. But now in hindsight, I'm like, nah, I should probably not eat those. But they did taste good at the time. Someone said shared. Thank you. Oh, the Maxwell verdict. Right. I forgot about that. Real quick. All right. So I wanted to read this article. It's a Newsweek article about the Maxwell verdict. I will do that. Thank you for reminding me. Like the media, I almost forgot about it. I am the media now. I almost blew it. But okay. So Ghislaine Maxwell was guilty on 5 out of 6 counts. I just want to read this because, you know, there's a lot of people in right-wing media that are saying that this is not enough and saying that, you know, she's getting arrested, but like everybody who was involved is not getting arrested. I would say that's true. But I just want to read this Newsweek article because it's hilarious how the media is framing it. They're like, these crazy right-wingers think that, you know, they're sealed records because, you know, this is corrupt courts. They're questioning the courts. It's like, lady, everybody knows the Epstein-Ghislaine thing. Like, people think that there were more people involved. It doesn't make you a lunatic conspiracy theorist to think that there were more people involved. Everybody knows that. So, like, I just think it's crazy Newsweek is like going with this angle. So I'm reading this. This is a Newsweek article from today. Are Jeffrey Epstein records sealed, or were Jeffrey Epstein records sealed after the Ghislaine Maxwell verdict? This is Newsweek. Sorry. Omicron. Sorry, I gotta get that Omicron out of my system. I apologize. You know, I'm a healthy guy, so I'm just kidding. Please don't censor me. This is Newsweek. Ghislaine Maxwell's conviction for sex trafficking led right-wing commentators to cast doubt on the integrity of the court. The British socialite was found guilty of grooming girls for former lover Jeffrey Epstein to abuse after a month-long trial. The jury returned guilty verdicts on 5 out of 6 charges, including that she sex trapped a minor. After the verdict, claims began to appear about the court's process in relation to evidence of Epstein's powerful friends. Right-wing commentator and conspiracy theorist Jack Posobiec posted on Twitter suggesting documents had been sealed. He wrote, Ghislaine Maxwell had been found guilty and all of Epstein's networks are sealed, ordered sealed. Marjorie Taylor Greene tweeted about it. Let's see what they're saying. A high number of high-profile associates of Epstein were also named having flown on plane during this trial, despite not being in the defendant's case. They included Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, Prince Andrew, Kevin Spacey, Chris Tucker, and Bill Gates, among others. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see what they say. It says, the decision to seal the contacts book was also made during the trial and was therefore not related to the verdict, which hasn't been reached. I don't really know what Newsweek's saying, honestly. You could read the article yourself and decide for yourself, but they're trying to go with this angle of like, these right-wing crazies think that this is a cover-up, but it's totally not because, you know, the British socialite, Ghislaine Maxwell, was trafficking minors to Epstein. Like, I don't think this is just what I think, but I don't think very many people think this is what was going on. It was just Epstein and Maxwell was bringing women to Epstein, and like, that's the whole thing. I don't think like anyone thinks that. Maybe you can act like that's what they think, but like, nobody thinks that. Left-wing people don't think that. Right-wing people don't think that. So Newsweek is trying to really like, you know, finesse an audience that doesn't exist. Like, these crazy right-wing conspiracy theorists think that they're covering up the sealed contacts, but really, you know, we did our justice here, folks. You know, Ghislaine Maxwell was just trafficking women to Epstein, and we solved that mystery. It's like, yeah, okay. I'm sure that will impress like 7 people, because like 90% of left-wing and right-wing people obviously understand that there was a bigger network involved and that it was probably bigger than that. So it's just like, that's just who the media is now. They're like, oh man, these crazy right-wing nuts think that like we're sealing it, but it's not how they're saying we're sealing it. We're just sealing it for different reasons. And we really solved that case. It's like, yeah, right. Okay. I don't know who they're impressing with that, but let me know what you guys think. We'll see what happens. Time tells all. But yeah, I think if Maxwell goes to jail and nobody squeals, I believe, obviously, like everybody with a brain, that there's probably more to that story. What's my Instagram name? I can't find it. It's Dream Rare, DreamRare, dreamrare.com. I'm sorry, dreamrare.com is my hat website, or God Bless Hats, but Dream Rare is my Instagram, and Dream Rare Chat is my Telegram. So follow me on Instagram, even though Facebook owns that. BitChute, Rumble, you know, we'll see what this year entails. I mean, I'm glad that, call me crazy, but I'm glad that Bill Gates and Epstein kind of kicked it, you know, because there was probably some good discussion going on there, some real scientific like stuff. You know, maybe Epstein knew a lot about mRNA vaccines and was like, yo, you know, Bill, I just want to help humanity with you. And Bill's like, yeah, Jeffrey, I feel you. I know that the media hates you and that you're in trouble and I'll get in trouble for hanging out, but you care so much about the kids and the environment, you know, and the climate change and I'm just kidding. That probably didn't happen, but you know, I'm sure they talked about something else, but who knows? It's not my business. I stay out of it. Thank you, Christina. She said, you're awesome. I agree. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you. How did I come up with the name Dream Rare? Said Based for Life. So I was thinking, because my name is Anomaly, AN0MALY. That was my rap name, and it's hard to spell, Anomaly. And then it was Anomaly Music. Hey, follow me at Anomaly Music. It's confused. The O's a 0. It takes like an hour to explain. So I was like, I need to rebrand my social media to pick something that is actually easier to spell. So I thought of, in my head, I was going to things that I like, dream this, blah, 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 like words that I like, brands that I like. And I came up with Dream Rare. And I was like, oh, it's available. It's short. It's easy. It's 2 words. It's 2 syllables. I love it. It's mine. I got the website, the domain, etc. So that's how I came up with it. I was like, I got to figure out an easier way to find people, to get people to follow me, because just explaining Anomaly Music is too much. Dream Rare, easier. I like it. Rare Dream, Dream Rare. Rebecca said, just follow. Thank you. Someone said Michelle gave us nothing burgers. Literally, she's like, eat your carrots, kids. And people were like, God darn it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That whole wave went over me, but she ruined our school lunch program. People are still debating about my Michelle Obama joke. Here's all I'm going to say. I don't think she made it. I'm not going to say she did a good job. I just think it's funny. Like, school lunch was garbage when I was growing up. I mean, I would think it would be hard to ruin that, because it was pretty bad. Like, it was like, here's your sloppy Joe, kid. And it's like, ugh. And you pay $1.50 for it. And they're like, here's a brownie. And I'm like, and you're like, here's a Choco Taco. Like, it's not like we were dining in like a 6-star restaurant before Michelle Obama. I'm not saying she didn't make it worse. Maybe she did something corrupt. I just thought it was funny. Like, people are so mad at that. Like, I promise you, your kids were not eating healthy before Michelle Obama's thing. I'm not saying she made it better, because I don't know that, but it's like, it was never good in America. Like, we were not eating real food ever. Like, here's your sloppy chicken guts again. And you're like, it's reheated. And you're like, ugh. You're like, no, or like, just like cardboard pizza. I was always blown away by how bad school pizza was. It's hard to screw up pizza. I've worked at, I've been a cashier at a pizza place before. I've also worked a lot of jobs, but in general, it's like, it's not that hard. I mean, it's not easy to make a pizza, but it is a hard thing to screw up. Like, Totina's pizza rolls taste better than school lunch. Somehow schools always had the worst pizza. Like, it was like a cardboard. It was like it was disgusting. Like, a 30-cent pizza from Costco tastes better. I was always like, how do schools blow pizza? Like, that's how bad school lunches were. They took one of the most easiest, delicious meals that you could eat and made it taste like cardboard. And I was like, I don't even get how you do that. Like, you just get the ingredients yourself and do a half-ass job in the oven, and it'll taste like 2 times better. But that's what I'm saying. That was like the level that it was at before Michelle Obama. What happened after? I don't know. I wasn't in school. It's garbage, though. Someone said earthworm Alfredo. Yeah, pretty much. Here's your earthworm Alfredo. You're like, oh, it had like worms in it. No. Just like living worms in it. They're like, eat your worms, kids. You're like, ugh. They always had those like hair nets in their hair too. Like, it was like, they're like, we got them. I'm like, you might as well just let your hair fall in the food. It's disgusting. It's not even worth keeping your hair away at this point, but I appreciate it. Someone said, I know you chose Dream Rare, but what's the deeper meaning behind it? I mean, just take the 2 words. Dream. What does dream mean? In your sleep, you dream, but also, like, I had a dream. I dream of being a baseball player. You know, like, a dream is a good thing. Usually, you know, a nightmare is a bad thing. A dream is like a beautiful thing that you think of. So dream, and then rare. What does rare mean? Not common. Anomaly. What does anomaly mean? Anomaly is a word. It means not like others, a deviant from the normal, something that is rare. There's an anomaly in the sky. That play was an anomaly, rare. So dream rare. That's what it means. It's you know, I think I put rare dream and it was taken, and then I put dream rare and it wasn't taken. So that's how I came up with that. I don't know. It was probably like a lot of trial and error before I found something short and easy that wasn't taken. Someone said broccoli pizza is as healthy as I go with pizza. Just add Frank's Red Hots. I'm sure it tastes better than school pizza. Someone said, I remember hating pizza when I was in school. It was probably the school pizza. Yeah, no, the worst pizza was like school cardboard, that was the worst. And pretty much anywhere else you get it, it tastes better. Even if you get like dollar bagel bites, to me they taste better. But someone said you're absolutely gorgeous and based AF. Well, thank you. Appreciate it. Plastic wrap pizza. It tasted like it. Happy New Year. Wishing you the best, said Nicole. Thank you. Happy New Year. Appreciate you. Someone said I went to Catholic school. I'm not going to read that, but I laughed. You're going to get me in trouble. Someone said beautiful day out here in California. Someone said the pizza at my school is great, and so is the salad bar. Mine was not. And it was all like cookies and stuff. Like you can get like a disgusting little, well, they tasted amazing, like a Little Debbie's, but I don't know. I feel like I would be the unpopular person in school. I'd be like, kids, you're going to eat better. You're going to work out. They would hate me. I'm like, dude, you can't be eating this much sugar all the time. It's not healthy. Like kids eat candy for like lunch. It's like, what are you doing? Why did they allow that? All right, let's see. Someone said I'm out. Low vibration conversation. Wow, you're so cool, bro. Thanks for letting us know. You're so high vibration. Thank you, Zane. God bless you, man. Whoa, you just shocked some energy into me, my God. Man, it was so low vibration before you commented, and now it's like, zzz, I think I'm reaching nirvana. Thank you, Zane. I will meditate after this and do some push-ups and go to space. Thank you, bro. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for announcing that, dog. You're crushing, dude. You're killing it, man. You remind me of like the Dalai Lama. I'm like, what? Is that Yoganandi? What? Is that Sadhguru? Huh? Dude, Sadhguru watches my streams? Dude, dope. Let's get them vibes up, doggy. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. Keep at it, dude. You'll get to nirvana someday. And I'm not talking about Kurt Cobain. You hear me? I'm talking about high vibrational, heaven on earth style stuff, dude. I mean, just Eckhart Tolle type stuff. Live in the moment. I'm here, you're here, but we're here. We're all connected via particles, bro. Like, dude, my horoscope. I mean, but what's your moon sign? Oh, you're a Libra anomaly. That's dope. But what's your moon sign? Go ask your mom what time you were born. I want to know your moon sign. I want to know if we connect on different planets. Cause like you're here, I'm here, but like my soul's in Saturn, dog. My soul lives on Saturn. It's got its own Xbox. We play Rocket League sometimes together. It's no big deal. I mean, I just followed this Instagram account, did a few things, and now, it's no big deal. So appreciate it, dude. Thanks for raising the vibes here. Someone said Tim Pool says we might be close to a civil war. Thoughts? I think Tim is in a civil war in his own head because he's always like perpetually shocked by everything that's happening. He's like, holy girl, oh my gosh, the Democrats are corrupt. Oh my gosh, I can't believe the kite. It's like, dude, it's every day, bro. It's not that shocking. But I don't know. I feel like I like Tim Pool. I think his analysis is good, but he definitely seems like he's like angry all the time. Nothing wrong with that. I get it. It's crazy times. Tim's manning up. He's like, but like in general, it's like, bro, they locked the country down for 3 months. Like, people didn't do anything. Like everybody's like sitting on the couch watching the Broncos. Like nobody's going anywhere. So Tim's like, oh my God, there's going to be a war. Oh God. And you're like, yeah, dude, any day now. It's like, it'll be fine. The real revolution is of yourself. Change your heart, change your mind, change your body, change, do what you got to do. Tim's making a fortune. He works hard. He does analysis and he makes millions of dollars and he'll keep making millions of dollars. So he's fine. You'll be fine too. Just, I believe that it would be a smart idea to politically segregate. I think we should come to the terms and say, listen, we don't want the same things. You want to wear 15 masks or whatever and go on a hike with an N95. I want you to leave me alone. So I feel like if people were adults, we could come to the table and hopefully just like, realize that we don't want the same things. But no, I don't think that's going to happen. But if Tim wants to say it is, that's his First Amendment right to say that. But I don't think so. I was watching him and R.A. the Rugged Man yell at each other. It was hella funny. Like it was like R.A. the Rugged Man was saying something about white people, and then like Tim was like calling him a racist, and like Tim just got super mad. I thought that was funny. I liked him. I would love to talk to him sometime, but I feel like this is my analysis of the situation. If you guys saw it, R.A. the Rugged Man, he's like a legendary rapper, was debating with Tim Pool, and Tim started like yelling a lot. And here's my thoughts on it. I tend to agree with Tim more than RA on that topic a little bit, even though I like RA. I've spoken to him, but Tim is used to like being by himself, right? Which is nothing wrong with that. Like I act crazy when I'm by myself, but Tim was starting to like yell at Rugged Man the same way he yells when he's by himself and like screaming at him. And my personal thought is like, you don't got to scream at him, even if you disagree with them. Where like Tim's yelling at him and RA got up like he was going to hit him or something. It was hilarious. And I don't think violence is the right answer, obviously, but it's like, bro, you don't talk to a man like that. I don't even agree with RA on the topic, but like Tim's screaming at him. It's like, bro, he's always yelling all the time. I don't know. And like, he's like always angry and stuff. I'm like, bro, Tim needs to start working out or something. Put that energy and start getting jacked. But in general, like that whole debate started coming down to like them calling each other racist. That's why I don't use that word. Like RA was like, oh, you're a racist. And like, Tim's like, no, you're a racist. I'm half Asian and half white and you're racist towards white people. And it's like, bro, like stop using the word racist. This is why you shouldn't even use that word. Explain your thoughts. This is why this doesn't make sense. This is why this is evil. This is why this is hurting people. This is why this isn't going to help black or white people. But like, you're a racist. You're a racist. I'm mad. You're a racist. I'm mad. You're a racist. Like everyone's racist. It's like, bro, I don't want to, I'm so tired of debates like that. I like both of them, but that word is removed from my category because if I can't explain why something is wrong without using the word racist, sexist, anti-Semitic, xenophobic, conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, then I probably don't know what I'm talking about. Because it's like, Robert Malone is a conspiracy theorist. It's like, what have you ever done, dude? Like, what have you ever created? Like, these words don't mean anything. But, I think your reality is like it's a manifestation of like what you do, what you listen to, what you believe. So if you want to believe there's a civil war coming, there is a civil war, but it's in your own head. In the real world, you have a lot of options, less and less, because it's becoming very authoritarian. But I don't like the rhetoric like that because I think the current battle is mental, spiritual, and it's already happening. So it's like, I don't want people to do anything rash or stupid like January 6th and then set you back 10 years. It's like everyone, there's still a lot of people who liked that day and thought it was like cool. And that's their opinion and perspective. I don't care. I don't think they're handling it right. And I think they're over exaggerating about it. But it's like if you do something rash, you eventually kind of set yourself back. So if you think about this as a battle, there is a mental battle, a spiritual battle, a medical battle, information battle. It's all happening right now. It's happening slowly and quickly at the same time. So if you just keep hyping people up that get pissed and, it's like, what are you really accomplishing? So that's my personal perspective. I don't think people should have that mindset. I think you should realize that the biggest war in your own life will be like your decisions, where you want to go, what you want to do, and standing up for yourself, etc., making moves in your life that you have to. I'm not a big fan of that type of rhetoric, but whatever, to each their own. Someone said US is slowly being dismantled by design. I think that's true. I think it's more of like a slow grind than like people are going to go out in the streets. I don't know. If people didn't go out in the streets to defend themselves in a lockdown, I don't think people have it in themselves in America. And in general, it's not wise. Like, who are you going to fight? You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm so mad. What are you going to do? Who are you going to fight? Your political opponents are all around. They own everything. They own every Marriott, it's like, what are you just going to run in the streets and yell or something? Like who are you mad at? It's not like the country's segregated between left and right, and it's like the Civil War of like Confederates and the North and the South. Like that's not really what's happening right now. So I think there is a battle going on, but this idea that people are going to fight, I don't see it. You know, I like, where would you fight? Just go to the CNN building and be like, ah, 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 ah. And everyone's like, dude, what? That didn't do anything. I don't know, you know, but I just think that, you know, it's happening now. I am of the mind to think that we should figure something out. Like, I don't like the idea that Republicans and liberals are always like acting like we don't agree. I don't think that we agree. I don't want to live around people that think that way and act that way. And I'm totally fine with Portland and Seattle doing what they want, but like keep it there. You know, I think that would be smart for Texas and Florida or wherever, you know, wherever there's a huge amount of conservatives, to really just be honest about it instead of being like, hey, let's fight each other in the streets. Like, it's not 1776. That's not really the world is different. There's drones, there's, you know, massive bombs. It's not like, it's not Christopher Columbus style times. Like the world, the new battle is different. So I think it would be wise to just be like, listen, you want to do that. We want to do that. Leave us alone. I feel like maybe that might not work, but you know, why not do an experiment? Go here, seal it off, you know, say that we're all crazy, and then do the N95 masks and wear triple masks and get triple vaccines and do everything. And then we can laugh hysterically in your face a year later when you still get sick, when you're not healthy and everybody's miserable. That's my idea of utopia, not fighting and not acting like there's going to be some war that breaks out, but getting these people away from us. Like, why is that not being done? Well, you're the problem. Okay, I agree. I'm so bad. Whatever. Then do that. Go somewhere in this country. Take a county. Seal it off. You know what I'm saying? Go full Australia. Don't do it to me, and don't force people into it. But let the people that want to do that. There's 1 million people in this country that literally want to live in a lockdown quarantine in Australia. Let them do it. I'm all for it. But just don't force somebody to do it. Get those people the hell out of my town and put them somewhere where they can live in a miserable hospital setting, and I can laugh hysterically when it doesn't work. That doesn't work. They want to act and coincide with us to be like, you're the problem. You're the problem. It's like, no, go somewhere. I feel like that's the rhetoric. Oh, Texas is so happy the tech company came. Like, why? I mean, cool. Yay, economy. Now they're going to vote the other way and turn your country. It's like, turn your state into the other state. It's like, what about just being honest? I don't hate you. If you're liberal, I don't hate you. If you're a medical authoritarian psychopath, I don't hate you. If you wear 3 masks, I don't hate you. If you wear 3 vaccines, I don't hate you. But we don't agree with the same stuff, and I don't blame you. So I don't want you, if you blame me, go somewhere and try your little experimentation around thousands of people who agree with you. Go away. Someone said, I don't think that's going to happen. It probably won't. Just like a civil war probably won't happen. You know, these are utopian things for me, but I think Tim has the First Amendment right to say that, but I just don't see that happening. And I personally, as much as I like Tim and I think he does a good job, I don't agree with his like constant rage all the time. And that's his right. I don't care. I'm not like hating on him or anything. I think he's got a lot of value, but he's always angry. So like in his own head, he's at war with all this stuff. Oh my God, I can't believe it. So then he's telling people civil war. It's like, bro, if you calm down for 3 seconds, none of this stuff is shocking. It doesn't mean you have to be okay with it. But if you're in a battle, this is just my personal perspective. When you're boxing, do you see the boxers angry all the time? I'm so mad at you. I'm going to punch you. You can't box that way because you would get your ass knocked out. So you have to be calm and wise and smart and wait for the right time. It's a battle. It's a long form. You can't just be angry or else you'd lose every fight. You can't be angry in basketball or you get a technical. You can't act that way that he acts in any sort of combat sport. You can't act that way in UFC or you'll get knocked out. You have to be calm when you're fighting. That's how you win. So he's always freaking out. So he's freaking people out. I don't think that's right. You know, I'm not saying what's going on is right. I'm not saying you should put up with it, but when you're angry and irrational, you're not well equipped to fight, you know, and you're not well equipped to win. It's like, that's how you do something like emotional and irrational. And I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I'm not saying that I don't get emotional at certain times and stuff, but the fact that he's telling millions of people that that's going to happen, I don't think that's a good idea. But he's allowed to think that, and maybe he's right, maybe he's wrong. Only time will tell. I don't see it with this type of technology, with what's going on in this country. I see it as more of like a slow grind and like a back and forth sort of like mental games than it is like, oh, let's all go in the street. Like, I don't think that's the solution. In fact, I honestly think that would make everything worse, because people start to think that, they start to role play activists and role play George Washington. They go somewhere, they do absolutely nothing, they get set up, they get arrested, or they get in trouble even though they didn't do anything, and then they set the whole movement back for 5 years because they use that as a fundraising tool and stuff. So I just I think people should definitely be calculated. That's the method that I think would be smart. But once again, this is why I believe in freedom, and people have different ideas. I don't want everyone to agree with me. Life would be boring if everyone said what I said. Someone said, to Tim's defense, he was quoting the CIA and 3 generals. Yeah, he's said this a lot of times, though. I don't know that this is just a quote. He's allowed to say it. I think he's a net positive. I think he's a net positive on the world. He's done a great job. He does a lot of things, and it would be boring if we were the same person. So, but he said it many times, not just quoting people, and that's his right to say it. I don't believe in silencing or demonizing him for doing that, but he analyzes things, and that's what I do. And we're different people. And if we were the same, there would be no need for both of us. So it's no big deal. Someone said, now that Alex is against T-Man, why hasn't he apologized to David Knight? You talking about Alex Jones and David Knight? That's personal drama that I can't really tell you. I like both of them in different ways. I think David is an honorable man. But I don't know. A lot of people, I'm going to do a stream probably later today, but a lot of people are saying what I said a year ago that got mad when I said it, that haven't apologized to me. I don't need an apology, but it takes, I think, a real man, a real humble person to, admit you were wrong and reach out to people that you were wrong about. So I don't know if Alex is there and wants to fully do that, or maybe there was a different part of that equation. But that's for them to decide. I don't know their relationship. Alex Jones and David Knight, they worked together for years. I can't tell you what happened because I wasn't there, but a lot of people are now becoming keen to certain things, and they haven't apologized to a lot of people. And that's just how the world works. It's happened thousands of times before, and I'm sure it'll keep happening. Someone said, you don't look like Jason Long, but I bet you can imitate him on Idiocy. I haven't seen the movie, and I don't know who Jason Long is. Sorry. So I can't even really do that one. All right. I got a few more minutes and I'm going to take off. Thoughts on RFK's new book? I have it here. I actually have it right here. And I didn't plan that, but I'm reading it. I haven't read a lot of it, but I definitely like to support people who get kicked off social media. So I want to see what the book says. I'm reading it. It's very long, and I haven't gotten that far, so I don't have opinions, but I'm glad that it sold so many copies. That's pretty cool. Someone said Alex does have good vitamins and he sells Fear as well. Yeah, I think that's really a great, this is what I'll say real quick before I move on. Alex's products are really good. If you want good toothpaste, I think his toothpaste is very good. That's my opinion. This is not an ad. I like his toothpaste. A lot of his products are pretty holistic and good for me. He definitely does exaggerate and lie sometimes and fearmonger. And I say this as somebody who doesn't hate Alex. I actually think he has a good heart. But I've seen him multiple times lie and exaggerate just for hype. Like every day is an emergency broadcast. It's the craziest thing. He freaks out. He says whatever he wants. And I'm not really overly interested in that because I don't trust it. When COVID first happened, I wanted to hear what Alex had to say because it's like, damn, he's been saying similar things for a long time. And he was trying to tell people that COVID was going to kill people and you better just like get right with God because we're all going to die. Like that's what he was doing with this platform. He was fear mongering everybody. And then 2 weeks later, he's like, oh, it's not that bad. And this is deception. So, I think that's his biggest flaw is just not the fact that he says what he wants and he's very accurate, but the fact that he's willing to, I believe, fear monger and exaggerate like all the time just to ramp up tension and sell advertisements rather than just sell advertisements and, just be fair about it. But that's on him. I still think he's got good products. I still think he's been a net positive. Personally, I think he's been early on a lot of things and he deserves a lot of credit. But at a certain point, I think we're all responsible. Like, if you're going to ramp up certain, like, just try to be honest. I don't know. Once like you freak people out and act 100% sure about something that's not right, and you're like, we're yelling about it. It's not, I don't like it. But, at the same time, I do like certain things he says. Someone said, y'all crypto clowns broke as pho. I said, pho, like the Vietnamese food, pho. Did I watch the Fauci Mullis video where Kari Mullis calls Fauci an idiot, has no business being in the position? Oh, for sure. I actually shared that on Twitter. I found it. I wasn't the one who like originated it. I didn't film it or anything, but I found it. I shared it on my Twitter. It was written about by National File, I believe Patrick Howley. Shout out Patrick. And Don Jr. actually tweeted it with he tweeted that article with my tweet in it. So not only did I see it, I also helped a lot of people see it, and so did Patrick, and so did Don Jr. So, I caught that video pretty early on. Someone said CNN is safe and effective. Oh yeah, totally safe, totally effective. You just stare at that. You just watch Don Lemon for an hour, and you're good. When I'm feeling down, I just watch Don Lemon. And it's safe, it's effective, and it just feels right. I'm like, this guy really knows what he's talking about. Wow. He like every second of Don Lemon, I feel like I'm in a pinball machine. Like my brain's just getting like, I'm like, damn, I'm just getting smarter. I leave a Don Lemon session, watching CNN. I'm like, all of a sudden I grew like a handlebar mustache. I have a top hat on I wasn't wearing beforehand. I was like, I'm just like so much more, diverse. Yeah, for sure. Ayal Harv Tuff said, do I want to hear the latest news from Israel? Sure. I would love to live stream with somebody from Israel because I know y'all be COVID crazy, not you specifically, but for sure. Drop a line about Israel and I'll read it aloud. Appreciate it. All right. Maybe that'll be the last thing and then I'm out. Someone said Don Lemon has a new line of cheese. Is that true? I don't know if that's true, but that sounds like something I would never buy if it was true. Someone said Alex doesn't lie. He's totally against establishment. He just exaggerates truth. Yeah, I guess, but I don't know. I didn't like the fact that he was like scaring people that everyone was going to die during the pandemic. I mean, this is where I like Alex, but I think David Knight is right in this sense. It's like, dude, people are watching you at a crucial time for humanity. Trump locks the country down, and then you're like, we're all gonna die. Like, and then it's like, dude, that like at a certain point, you got to stop doing that. He also has clips where he was justifying Operation Warp Speed for a long time, telling everybody it's this and that. At a certain point, an exaggeration becomes a lie. There's an exaggeration, and then there's just a lie. So I would say he mostly is honest, but he definitely can exaggerate and lie. And I think he should be more careful. But, to each his own. He's done what he's done for a long time. I saw his videos when I was younger, and it was definitely life-changing. So he's done his fair share of what he needs to do, and the rest of his life is up to him. It's not on me. But as a consumer who doesn't hate him, who buys some of his products and appreciates him, I'm less than impressed when that happens. But whatever. Everything's not for everyone. Did that Israeli guy say anything? Let me see. He said from Israel today, 4th shot approved today. Yeah, I wonder. I haven't been doing very many like collab live streams, but I'd love to chat with someone in Israel to give me like, the ground level, like what they're doing and stuff. Maybe it could be you. I don't know. Is there a link to my interview with Candace? We'll end on this note. I don't know what they do personally because, first of all, it was not an interview. It was a panel. I was on a panel with Jack Posabic and Allie Beth Stuckey. And it was like a 3-person panel. So there's some clips of that on YouTube on Candace Owens' YouTube channel. I think it's like Candace O Show or something, the Candace Owens Show. There's clips of it on her YouTube channel. I don't know what the Daily Wire does with her stuff, honestly. So we'll see. But this is just my opinion. I don't work at the Daily Wire. I don't know Ben Shapiro, and I like Candace, but I don't. Her career is not my business, but they make it very hard to find this stuff. So I think, especially with the interview, I don't know what type of contract they have, but I would love if Shapiro or Candace posted the whole interview on some sort of channel. I guess it's only behind the Daily Wire, paywall. So they're trying to get a lot of subscriptions, which is good. But I would love if like that interview, they did it for a week and then released it, because it's very hard to find. And a lot of people don't even know the whole interview. They only seen the clips. I watched not even the whole interview, but most of it. And you could see Candace pushing back more in the full interview. I'm not saying she did everything everyone wants her to do, but there were some great questions about Assange that nobody's talking about. There was some pushback about why didn't you pardon him, which nobody has asked Trump yet. But nobody can see it because it's hard to find. It's behind the Daily Wire paywall. It's good probably for the subscriptions, but I think it would be nice if some of it got released, in an easier way to find. But, I don't know. I don't know where it is. I don't know how to find it. I do know that there's some clips on YouTube. Am I losing weight? I mean, I was home on vacation, so I don't know that I lost weight, but I definitely wasn't working out as much for a month. So we'll see. Someone said I own $2 in Bitcoin. Congratulations, Pacific Northwest 360. You're gonna crush. And like, if it goes up a lot, maybe one day you'll have $10. Someone said I found it there. I created an account, but it won't let me view it until I pay the membership fee. Yeah, so I guess it's on the website with the membership fee. So I don't, there's clips of it on YouTube. You can find it behind the paywall, but I don't know. I don't really know. It's not my clip. I could find it probably. Someone said Candace uploaded the Julian Assange interview on her Candace channel. She interviewed Julian Assange? That's cool. Let me see. Let's see. I'm going to look that up real quick. Candace Owens, Julian Assange. Did she interview him? Oh, no. She put the clip of him, why he didn't pardon him. I got you. Yeah, she puts clips. I get it. She puts clips, and then you can watch the whole thing behind the paywall. That's what it is. I would love to see the whole interview, but I guess you got to pay. You got to pay to play. All right, one more. Land on a good note. I think I'm going to do later, if I'm not just tired from talking so much now. I want to do one video. Hopefully people don't get mad, but I want to have this video so I can reference, because one of the biggest talking points when I talk about Trump is people say, but he didn't mandate it, but he didn't mandate it, but he didn't mandate it. So I want to do like a quick video, maybe like a 10, 15-minute live stream max, and explain my side of that, because it's just like annoying. Literally, it reminds me of like the NPC meme. It's like the left wingers where they just say the same 5 things. That's become the right wing. If you challenge Trump, it's like the same 3 things on loop. But I want to make a whole video about it, because people don't realize, and this is what bothers me, not just about Trump, but about a lot of these Republicans. If they stayed libertarian the whole time, I'll give you a little, since you guys stayed long, we got a couple, over 1,000 people, 1,500. I'll give you a little intro to what I'm going to explain. If the Republicans and Trump, if they stayed libertarian the whole time, then I would say, dope, don't get involved. You're not going to mandate it, etc. But like, what they did was they weren't libertarians when it mattered. They ushered all this stuff in. They used socialism, bring in the CARES Act, mass testing, all these schemes, the emergency order, Operation Warp Speed. They had no problem being socialists and even at some point communists, forcing companies to make ventilators that didn't even want to make ventilators. Like they went full communist, literally. Forcing production from a company that didn't even want to make that by threatening them and saying they could do it anyway. So that's not free market. They weren't free market. So they do all this damage. They screw up. I knew before the lockdown that this was going to be mandated. So if you say you're against mandates, then don't do all this stuff ushering it here. And then when it all gets here, being like, oh, I'm a libertarian, I'm against mandates. Like that's what the Republican Party is. And people think that's acceptable. That's why you're in the position you're in today. And that's why you constantly lose, because people have no spine. So it's like, if you're going to be a libertarian, do it the whole time. Don't wait till you screw up and then all of a sudden take a hands-off approach. And that's exactly what happened with the lockdowns. And this is why it makes no sense. With the lockdowns, when everybody was locking down, 15 days to slowly spread the extension, most Republicans, if not nearly all Republicans, were on board. They were enforcing it. They were suggesting it. They were pushing it. So they allowed the country to lock down. Trump was highly, oh, Gavin Newsom's so great, Murphy's so great. His strategy was like to get along with them as they're taking authoritarian power. And then after they take authoritarian power, we try to open the country up 2 months later. And then it's like, oh, they won't listen to me. Oh, no, they used to like me. Oh, I never saw this coming. And it's like, why didn't you see it coming? So he wasn't able to reopen the country because he gave the power, or he allowed them to do what they did. And this is the part that's so frustrating about people saying, well, he wouldn't have allowed mandates. It doesn't mean anything because he did Operation Warp Speed. He did the CARES Act. He did the lockdown. Now that it's here, he did not have the power or the ability or the will or the spirit to stop the mandates, even if he was in office. He wasn't able to stop Gretchen Whitmer. He wasn't able to stop Cuomo. He wasn't able to stop Newsom. He wasn't able to really do anything. During the Black Lives Matter protests, he had no power. He sat there and said he might do something and didn't do anything. So the point I'm getting to, if he can't do anything about the lockdown, if he can't do anything about the riots, if he can't do anything about the restrictions, why in the world do you think he would have been able to do anything about the mandates? He wouldn't have. He's lying to you, or he's pretending like would have. He wouldn't have stopped state mandates. He wouldn't have stopped local mandates. He wouldn't have stopped corporate mandates. The only mandates Trump would have stopped were federal. And most of the ones coming in now are from corporations and states. So he would have stopped a very small percentage of mandates. It would have been better. That's why I voted for him over Biden for many reasons. But in general, it's like people are like, but he wouldn't have done mandates. It's like, so you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Mandates were coming either way. He wouldn't have stopped it. He didn't have the will or the power to stop it. And this is like the NPC Republican talking point now. It's like, but he would have been against mandates. Oh, yeah, he's a libertarian now after socialism, communism, socialism, printing money, pushing power, giving them money and power, emergency use authorization. Now, oh, I didn't do it. Oh, it wasn't me. Oh, I would have stopped it. No, you wouldn't have. And nobody cares because this is like the level that people are playing at. They're like, what do you want, Joe Biden? If you're not him, what do you want, Joe Biden? It's like, is this how childish we are now? What are you, team red or team blue? Who do you want? Pick one. Are you with me or not? It's like, okay, I guess I'm not with anybody then because I'm not playing this game. So that's the video I'm going to make later and just have it out there. Anytime someone says, I'll just post it. It's like they have no problem being socialists when push comes to shove. And then when Republicans screw everything up, they sit back and act like they're full-blown libertarians. It's like, they're not fooling me. All right, I'm going to take off. Someone said Alex gave me a shout out yesterday, Anomaly. Oh, that's awesome. Appreciate it. Tell him I said I like his toothpaste. I like his toothpaste. I think he's got great products. And overall, he's been a net positive. Someone said he gave me a shout out. I'll check it out. I'm not hating on him. I'm just, I think I'll end on this note. Apparently he gave me a shout out. The best thing about Alex is if I said this to Alex, he's really, as wild as he is very thoughtful in the sense of like on Joe Rogan, one time he said like, I think he said something along the lines. He's like, he's like, most of the time I'm spot on. He's like, but 20-30% of the time I mess up. Like he'll admit that, he'll be like, I do this, I do that. Like if you said this to him, Alex wouldn't get mad and say no. He would be like, no, that's true. Like I'm wild. I go crazy. Like that's just who I am. So I think that's my favorite part about Alex is like, he wouldn't even get mad at what I said. He wouldn't be like, I hate Anomaly or whatever. I didn't even know he was aware of what I was doing. But in general, he would be like, no, you're right. Yeah, I do that. Like he's very self-aware. And I think that makes him even more likable to the people that like him. But God bless you. I appreciate it. Have a good day. And I will be back soon, maybe today, with another video. And that's what it is. Hopefully this one doesn't get deleted on YouTube or Facebook. That would be unideal. But if it does, it will be on BitChute, and I'll upload any videos that get deleted on to Rumble. That's what it is. Appreciate y'all. Thank you so much. And I'm out.